right, shalom, shalom. This is Brother Mark coming to you again. Lord willing, this will be edifying to those of you who are tuning in. Before we get started, I'd like to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakadash. Double honors to teachers, elders, and apostles of great millstone. Likewise, brothers put on this truth, faithfully fearlessly feeding the sheep. Indeed, brothers and sisters tuning in, shalom. And I waited for the weather to calm down, but apparently it's going to be raining and drizzling all day. And basically my usual spot was just not available. So today we're going to be doing it indoors, and nonetheless the lesson is going to be the same, going into prophecies and also, the situation that we're in right now and what's taking place here at Great Babylon, America, and across this earth. And of course, we always have our eyes on Esau, okay, the Edomite, the so-called white man. Now, you know what's taking place right now. You have some mass shootings. If you've been following the headlines, you have some mass shootings that's taking place. We had one today. Actually, I think it was 4 people went into the spirit world. You had an explosion out there in Tennessee. I think it was on Friday. They had an explosion out there at this military ammunition depot. Pretty much, if you look at your local news, you will see a lot of accidents, a lot of family disputes that ends in extreme violence. Basically what you have right now is a time of turmoil. People are impacted heavily with, economic tribulations, and, we're being ruled over by the wicked, okay? Esau the Edomite, the so-called white man. They're strategically, piece by piece, brick by brick, bringing down Great Babylon, America. And, we know that it's the Lord Yahweh Yahushai, closing the curtain on this place. You have what's going on there in Portland, okay, with ICE, okay, we can see, the uproar of the people all across Great Babylon, America, as they're realizing that, this suppression or oppression of Jake is really actually impacting your everyday Edomites, okay, as you have a government shutdown that's, that could potentially go into a month, 2 months, who knows, okay, as you have these devils tugging, for power, and we know that's going to eventually lead to civil war, because they are divided. The house is divided. This kingdom is divided, okay? And the other thing is video that's circulating right now amongst the brothers is about, a brother, an ark, that was attacked by, a demonic possessed Edomite, while he was doing camp live on camera, and we saw the result of that. The Lord put the spirit in that Jake, to take down that demon, and put him in his place, okay? And he went easy on him, okay? He should have actually, put him in a coma, but that's here or there, okay? So we're going to the scriptures here, and we know the hate is towards the people that have the truth, which is us, the so-called Black, Native Americans, and Latino man that have been chosen by the Hamashiach to bring out this gospel and this truth. And it's not popular with everyone in the world. Okay, when we go into the book of John 15, and starting with verse 18, it reads, "If the world hate you, and ye know that it hated me before it hated you." So the world hated the Hamashiach before it hated us. Okay, now he had all the truth. He had the 100% truth. We as individual brothers, okay, have fragmented, okay, or fragments of this. So each one of us have been given a portion, okay, of what we bring out. Okay, some brothers are much more deeper, in the history. Excuse me, Salakia. In the history, or in the medicines, well worse. Others have a different paths. Some of us, we put movies together, or we put presentation style type of edification. Okay, whatever it is that the Lord gifted you with, you use it to the best of your ability to edify the hopefully left. Okay, and we keep it simple. It says, "If ye were of the world will love his own. But because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hated you." We are hated not only by our own people, but of course we are hated by the people that we speak against, okay, which is Esau the Edomite, the so-called white man, because we speak concerning, okay, the demise of the kingdom of these Edomites. The fact that Great Babylon America is now going to be a kingdom that's going to sustain itself forever. It can't, okay? The only kingdom that's going to be sustained forever is going to be when Yahushua returns and set up the heavenly kingdom, okay? This is the reason why it says, you know, Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows, okay? In which we are going into the real new world order where things are actually going to be in order, okay? And what this man is trying to do is trying to create an artificial world order. But if you're wicked and all your thoughts are wicked and all your actions are wicked and there's no just sense inside of you to do the honorable thing, okay, then you cannot bring a new world order. What you're going to do is bring a new world chaos. And this is why you see right now everybody is losing their mind, with the exception of those of us who have been gifted, okay, with the spirituality to realize that everything that's taking place has to happen because it's been prophesied. Let's go into the book of Isaiah 13 and starting with verse 6. Okay, Isaiah 13 and starting with verse 6, because what we're going to see here is that the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, is going to destroy the Great Babylon America, whether these people believe it or not. And they're very angry, you know, when they see you standing up out there in great boldness and you holding a sign that shows the so-called white man that's going in slavery, okay, that the image of Caesar Borgia is a false image that our people have been conditioned to worship, okay, which is basically white supremacy. They see you speaking against a system that has done nothing but showing us hatred, okay? Yet still, you have these doggone Edomites, these fucking crackers, okay? And yes, I do cuss when I preach, that wants to suddenly say that they're repenting from their hatred and their racism. And they, you know, there's a video that brothers put out there with this useless, stupid, worthless, crackhead Edomite. No plan. Okay, doesn't show you the schematics of his plan and how he's going to do anything. But he's just going to talk over this pool hole, okay, in the camera, you know, with emotions, because that's what this place is all about. And that's all these shows are all about. Emotion. He's just a very emotional individual, okay? Oh, well, I'm not a racist anymore. I'm not with the Ku Klux Klan anymore. And I know y'all shouldn't trust me and all that stuff. But what I'm trying to say is this, is we all have a common enemy, which is the United States government. And we should get together and try to go do something about it. Do what about it? It's already been written. This kingdom is going to fall. It's already been written. All of you are going into slavery. None of you Jakes, none of you so-called blacks or Native Americans or Latinos should be getting involved with any of these doggone crackers in this country. Talking about you going to go take on the United States government or whatever the case is like that. What do you think that they're going to do with you? And I can tell you some damn stories living in the 1990s with these doggone crackers up there in New England, okay? And seeing some of these brothers who probably might have associated themselves with them, okay, because of the scarcity of of dark hue people like myself when you live in the state of like Maine or Vermont, okay? How you go to their house party or go to their house like that, and the spirit even before it came into us, came into you, you know, decades later, you could feel they're about to do some shit to you. And even back then, the Lord Yahweh Shemashai was protecting, okay, us. Okay, and I'm going to speak for myself individually to like, oh yeah, man, I got to go, you know. Because they're about to do some shit to you. You can never trust your enemy. How is it that you're going to come right now to try to get together with Jake, okay, the most worthless of all the friggin' doggone Edomites? This isn't like Edomites with necktie and suits, with education and have a plan and get, you know, financial backup and all this other shit that's coming to Jake's and saying, hey, you know what? I like to hire most of y'all to come work in my company. You know, I think y'all have had an unfair shot at life and blah, blah, blah. No. It's always a drunk, crackhead, useless piece of shit, dumb-ass cracker that now wants to try to, you know, talk to you as if, like, you have something in common. We're being oppressed. No, nigga. Your damn doggone leader is ignoring you. Okay? In fact, we can go into a scripture that says, you know, he's evil to him. He was evil to himself. Okay? Let's bring that up. And show you where you are. Because we've been telling y'all that what you have is a cruel Lord. Okay? that's ruling over you right now. This doggone man that came to you with the MAGA, Make America Great Again, foolishness like that. They're talking about the elites. They're not talking about you doggone useless eaters, okay? Skillless and useless. They know who the people who actually have the real true skills. They're getting rid of the skills. When they're getting rid of the Latinos and Hispanic, they're getting rid of the people who actually do the work here in America. When they're grabbing jakes off the street, when they're grabbing so-called black men and women off the street, they know they're getting rid of the ones who would dedicate themselves, who would work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to please the so-called white man just to make a fraction of what an idiot or a cracker would make. They know they're getting rid of the real true talent. You so-called white people don't have no talent, man. You really want to actually know. And you get the nerve to come and try to pander off to Jake. And if you niggas out there freaking stupid enough to listen to this doggone cracker, when they hang your ass from a tree, we'll just make a lesson on your dumb ass, okay? It says, let's take a look at this verse I was telling you, this scripture I was telling you about. Okay? This is Ecclesiasticus 14:5. It says, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He should not take pleasure in his good. So Esau is evil to his own people. He's evil to himself. They're divided. Okay, they can't make a decision. They're indecisive. Okay, and I bought a video, I think it was on Friday, saying that the title was he's weak, indecisive, and subject to doom. And what do you know? That brother came right out there and disarmed that weak ass cracker who's wielding a doggone sword in front of his face, using explicit words, calling him a nigger and trying to intimidate him, and just like that he got his ass whooped. And that brother showed mercy. That brother showed mercy. Because see, we've been grown by our elders and our elder brothers and how we actually have to conduct ourselves. But if that was a 2/3 Jacobs or one of these little Lions or there like that, he would have been that little shitbag would have been in the spirit world. And he probably wouldn't even have had the nerve to ever walk out there. And I think the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai used an example to show these doggone crackers, okay? Don't get it twisted, okay? Don't get it twisted. Your life is not worth more than ours. Don't get it twisted, all right? Let's go into the book of Isaiah 13 and start in verse 6. Because we don't hold back our tongue on how the Lord Yahweh Shema says he's not going to hold back his tongue, hold back his mouth concerning your wickedness. We bring out your iniquity and we tell you what your judgment is going to be. The same way we have to swallow, okay? We have to eat the whole roll, the good and the bad. We're Hebrew Israelite, at the same time we was wicked as hell. We were taken out of our first estate, okay, being gods and being kings, okay, of the royal heritage, and brought down low to be made mockery of. To be made fun of. You would make $1 in this doggone nation above, minimum wage or just enough to be miserable. Okay, you pretty much got to do what these punk ass niggas are doing in Hollywood, which is bending over and let this little prick, okay, this little peckerwood round them up their ass, which is exactly what Esau likes to do. That's why this place is known as spiritual Sodom in Egypt. And these are Sodomites, okay, that is in your doggone government. All Sodomites. All right. Let's go into, let me bring it out here. This is Isaiah 13. And starting with verse 6, and it reads, How ye for the day of the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Capital, Yahweh, okay? Self-existence, eternal. Not just God. That's a title. All right, it says, Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed at one another. Their faces shall be as flames. And I think it was the apostle that was going through in their camp yesterday when he was talking about the fact that when the Mashiach returns, I know it's not that comment or whatever that is. They say that's I forgot what they call it. That's it's passing Mars right now. Okay, when Yahushua returns, it's not going to be secretive. You're going to see the sign of the Son of Man coming. Okay, everybody's going to see it. And then as he gets closer, and yes, he's coming back on what the world ignorantly call UFOs, okay, in the scripture that's described as clouds, okay, which we know is an aerial type of vehicle, okay, but that can go through the second heavens, okay, or space, okay, and maybe even the third heavens, we don't know. But nonetheless, when he returns, he's coming in great power and glory. The whole world is going to know. It's not going to be a secret. The whole world is going to know. That's why it says they describe the tribes as being scared in absolute horror. In absolute horror. And Esau is going to know he's going up against a power he cannot defeat. And he's going to want to not go fight. But the Lord Yahweh Shemashah is going to put the spirit in him to go fight a battle that he's going to lose horribly. Okay? Because this is going to be the glorification, or this is going to be the magnification of the power, okay, of Yahweh Shemashah through his son. So he's not going to become sneaking around and wondering if this is that. No, it's going to be very obvious. The world is going to be frightened and fearful. It ain't going to be no nasty secret. All right? It says, for the stars of heaven and the constellation thereof, Slakia says, behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellation thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud, you Edomites, to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. You may be able to go there and you might put out in your narrative that the so-called black man, the so-called Latino man, the so-called Native American man are like barely above apes or were primates or whatever the case is like that. Really, prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Everything about your life is what we created. Okay? We the ones that broke our backs, okay, in the hot sun for 5 centuries. Okay? To make you have the life that you have, and you can even show the appreciation to the Lord Yahweh Shemashah for sending his chosen people to build your kingdom. You can even show the Lord your gratitude and maintain it. To keep the air purified, to feed the people on the earth. You didn't even have to invent anything. Y'all came right out of the cave and was given the best and the most intelligent people ever created to build your empire. And you dumb, stupid fucking crackers couldn't even maintain it. Showing how stupid you already are. You can even show the appreciation to the Lord Yahweh Shemashah by maintaining it. Look at this world, man. Everything that we did to build your kingdom up, you have fucked it up. So the Lord Yahweh Shemashah is going to jack your asses up, man. Jack your asses up. And we sigh and cry to the Lord Yahweh Shemashah every day, in our mind, on YouTube, on the other platforms, wherever we go, in all our conversation, all we do, night and day, is talk about how the Lord Yahweh Shemashah can fuck your ass up. Alright? And if you don't like the language, you don't have to watch it. Doesn't matter. I don't make money off of it. Alright? This is Jeremiah 30 and verse 6. Because it's not only going to be you Edomites that's going to become like doggone bitches, okay? A lot of jakes them, and nothing is worse than a doggone nigger and a spick. And I'm talking about so-called Negroes and so-called Latinos and Hispanic men and Native American men that cannot accept the fact that you are a Hebrew Israelite. You're the sons and daughters of Yasharallah, the Most High. You're above these doggone peasant other nations. These nations are created for slavery. They were created for vanity, man. Why are you equating yourself to a caveman? And you want to side with them, and you would come up, okay? Like for example, in that Edomite that came up to the camp, to that brother's camp. Then he gonna try to say he's Native American. No, you ain't no Gadite, man. And the brother's trying to go into him and say, well, we are brothers. Okay, let me read something to you. No, he gonna flash a doggone gun. Hey, listen up, Jakes, and you Jakes, and you Hispanic, you Latino, hypocrite and traitors. If you align yourself with them, you are them. And it's just that way. All right? Just keep that in mind. If you align yourself with them, you are them. You are not one of us. That's why it's always been described as you have a nation, 12 tribes. Yes, so you have it separate. You have 1/3, and then you have 2/3. The majority of our people are traitors and pieces of shit. untrustworthy, and the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, as we call out to him every day, is to judge your ass and wipe that smirk off your damn face. Because you get the same proud spirit, just like your doggone cracker, doggone oppressor, okay? Esau. This is Jeremiah 30 and 6, and it reads, I actually now see whether though the man travail with child, therefore do I see every man with the sands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. You see that right now. I open up with doggone the mass shootings, and you talk about the family disputes, and you're just seeing a lot of deletion going on. Okay? And yeah, we can make lessons on that, but they're not edifying. We already know that this is going to happen. You got these Edomites going up in their houses and just like deleting, you know, the woman, the children, you know, because this is how they deal with problems. Just like how right now they're looking at us as the problem. They're looking at us as the problem. How the hell are we the problem? We have no authority in this nation. What, you get like a mayor? Or you might have I don't even know if there's a doggone so-called Negro government. They pretended like we had the first black president with Obama, that faggot. Okay, which we find out that he's a Hamite or Edomite, Hamite/Edomite. Okay? We're not fooled. You're not going to fool the elect. Or the hopefully elect, as we know humbly always say. We hope we are the elect or chosen. You're not fooled, okay? But you can see here, alas, for that day is so great that it's not like it. Even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Again, you still have these doggone camps out there. Get the Gunyans to still teach that there's no Jacob's trouble. How much pain do you need to see our people and to understand? Okay? Keep in mind, Jacob's trouble is going to be these other tribes' trouble too. Okay? It's going to be, and it's escalating as we speak right now. So this lockdown is going to cause people not to get paid. Trump, instead of offering a solution, he's saying, you know what? We're going to do some mass firing. So ask yourself the question, government jobs pay little to begin with. Okay, and even if you've worked in it for 20, 30 years, okay, because a step to the next level, you have them called government services, you know, GS1, GS2, 3, up to 15. How much money are you making? After the GS15, you might make about $150,000 a year. Depends on what role that you're in, right? Most of the people, as soon as they get a job, they're going to get themselves in debt with a house, or they get themselves in debt with a massive credit card, or all unnecessary things in their life. Rather than cooking at home, they rather go and spend $500 for dinner, okay? Which they could cook the same tasteless meal that you eat in a restaurant for about $25. But since the women are out of order and is not going to go to the store and go cook for the man, and most men don't even know how to even cook for themselves, guess what? It's just easy to go out and go sit down. So then again, you fuel the economy like that, okay? Because you need to be seen and heard, and people need to see that you look like you are living it good or whatever case like that by going out there and getting yourself in debt. Now, as they say, the hen or the roosters come to cock and crow, okay? Back to the chicken coop. People ain't doing that now, or they're trying to say, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. But it's a bit too late for many of them. And two, now those restaurants are now going out of business, which is causing other people to lose their job because people depend on these businesses for their livelihood. A restaurant, you know, you can employ up to like 30 or 40 people, you know, for a typical family restaurant or whatever cases like that. So we can see right now you have an erosion of not only the economy, but you have the erosion of the mental health of people, you know, thanks to the toxic food that they feed you, all right, and the chemicals that they put into everything that's turning men into women, women into men, okay? There's no order. It's all divided. It's all divided. There's a vision in our households. So the households that actually are working together, okay, you know, where the woman is in order and the man is in order, hey, more power to them, you know. And if it is under the banner of the Yahweh Shema Shai, even better, because those are going to thrive during the time of Jacob's trouble, versus the ones out there who are looking, okay, to the most indecisive, okay, no anti-life, wicked as devil, to get them the answer and the solution rather than turn to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, and this is a matter with our people. So you're going to see here that men are going to be in distress. Okay, and they're already in distress right now. You've seen them losing their mind. Okay, as we speak, let's go into Lamentations 4 and start verse 9, and it reads. Okay, let's talk about there's going to be plagues and famine. It's nothing new. Plagues and famine. If you can't buy food, that's a famine. If you can't buy the necessities of life, if you can't afford it, that's a famine. So people might not believe that there's a famine because they can eat maybe not as much as they could have, or they can't afford the juicy steak that they used to. Maybe they have to eat something else, or the lifestyle, and so they're not seeing anyone really starving with the with the ribs showing and all that stuff. For that, yes, it's going to get to that level. It's going to get to that level. Be patient. But considering if you were here with a roof over your head and you had a meal before you every single day, and you could go out and maybe you live in La La Land, whatever the case is, that have a bit of birth, and that's gone from you, that is a famine. Okay? And there's going to be two types of famine. One is going to be the famine of food, but the one that y'all should really be concerned with is the famine of the word. We're not going to be out here on the highway and the byway or making videos. Sooner or later, they're going to come at us. Sooner or later, they will stop this. Sooner or later, they're going to make this illegal or against the system to even preach. Okay? So there's going to be a famine. And the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua is going to allow that. This is Lamentations 4. And Psalm 9 reads, "They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away stricken true for want of the fruits of the field." Now, I don't know if any of you have ever been through starvation period before. And I'm not talking about fasting. I'm talking about actually starving. Your body going through a starvation process. I've experienced it. I experienced it as a teenager. When I graduated high school, I weighed 85 pounds. I'm not going to go into the story. Okay? I weighed 85 pounds. 85 pounds when I graduated high school. Okay? And when I read this and I know what I experienced, I see this is going to be far worse than even that. That's why it says here, "They that be slain with the sword." How is it going to come? The sword could be a bullet to the head, whatever. Are better than they that be slain with hunger when you die of hunger. Because you will go through a pain that you cannot even begin to imagine. Your body will do whatever it takes to survive. And it's going to be very, very, very painful. A very painful experience. Okay? Very painful. It says, and it says right here, it says, "The hand of the pitiful women have sought in their own children. They will then meet in destruction the daughter of my people." Now, this happened before, okay, when you had the siege on Jerusalem, okay, where, people turn to cannibalism. That's going to happen again. That is going to happen again. People ain't going to be catching you to just kill you. They can be looking at you as dinner. And especially kids, because kids are more tender, like babies especially, like are more tender. People can be looking at little kids and stuff to eat them, man, because they're more tender and easier to chew than an old, grubby, stinky, nasty old people. And whatever the case is, they catch you, they eat you anyways. But this is what's going to take place. So this is going to be a plague of famine. Imagine you big fat women, you obese women, morbidly obese women. And we're going to talk to just the women of our tribe, the so-called black women, Latino women. And we're talking women that are 4 feet 11, 5 feet 2 at most, 350, 400 pounds. And they still get an attitude, of course, because, there's always a desperate Jake ready to lay on you. So nothing changes. You're not shamed to lose it, or the standards in Great Babylon, America is very, very low. Very low. So there's no need to change. Okay? Now imagine when you lose that weight suddenly. What you're going to be walking around with is a lot, like 50, 80, 90, 100, 200 pounds of skin flapping. That's going to be sweaty, stinking because no water running. You're going to have lice and all kinds of cockroach crawling up on that. How do you think you're going to smell? And we can go very, 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 very disgusting about it. I wish you saw them do a true apocalyptic movie that shows how obese people look when they drop weight very suddenly from starvation, and the issues that goes along with that with your skin and flesh rotting. See, y'all don't think about that because y'all don't think. Because y'all think somebody's going to just save your sorry asses. It's not going to work. Okay? Let's go into 2 Esdras 16 and start verse 19. Let's talk about the snare, okay, to keep a lot of you people in the doggone dark. Because, of course, if you don't believe nothing that's written in the scripture, then this is falling on deaf ear, but this is only going to fall onto the ear to the believers who's going to embrace this and understand this is what we have to go through in order to get into the heavenly kingdom, which says, roughly paraphrased, it says, through much trouble and tribulations, you enter into the kingdom of heaven. So there ain't a brother in this ministry, okay, that don't have the mindset that, yeah, you know, somebody could pull a sword to me on me at the camp, you know, whether you by yourself or whether you with a group. If you with a group, they might sell more or use big ammunition. It may not be just a pistol. It could be doggone semi-automatic weapons. It could be automatic weapons and a whole lot pulling up. Okay, so, you know, the only protection you really can count on is from Yahweh Shemi Shai. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. All right? The 2 Esdras 16, starting with verse 19, it reads, Behold, famine and plague, tribulation, anguish, are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be mindful, always mindful of the scourges. Why would you be mindful of the scourges? He says, the media is designed to put you in this state of somebody's going to fix the problem. And that's what people wake up to every single day. I see it just right around me. Just with the people that live around me. I'm not going to go in details about it because it will reveal certain other things. Okay? But you see it. People are thoughtless. They don't think. They don't think. They really don't think. 9 out of every 10 person you probably walk by is absolutely clueless. Absolutely clueless of what's going on in the world, what's even going on around even their neighborhood or in their city. They're clueless. They can't solve a problem. And this is why you're going to see panic is going to set in so heavy. Esau has done an excellent job as deceiving the people on this earth, and especially our people. It says, Behold, victuals should be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evil grow upon the earth. Sword, famine, and great confusion. We are seeing now third world situations and the state of so-called third world nations are now here in Great Babylon, America. The glimmer of hope that you people have is the fact that you look out your house every day or your abode, or even if you're waking up out of a cardboard box inside the road, there's still cars driving by. Someone might throw you a slice of bread, or they may even throw you $1. You can go up to the street there and there's a soup kitchen and there's some help and all that stuff. And what we're seeing right now is Trump is saying, nah, I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to cut out this free food for you helpless people. I'm going to make homeless illegal. I'm going to go clean up the street. He's thinking about implementing the Insurrection Act so that they can have the military troops out there to go out and sweep people out. And I think I was reading about the fact that you're going to have ICE is actually going to be defending the protesters out there in Portland, Oregon against ICE agents. Okay, so they're trying to prematurely stir up this division that's going to create this civil unrest and this chaos here so that they can engage, okay, or bring out what they truly want to bring out, which is the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast, okay, destroy this society, okay, which is the strongest society on earth right now as we speak, a set of people that have never known hunger, okay, or despair at a level that these other nations have experienced. And they're trying to artificially bring about it. But everything is done according to what Yahweh Shemi Shai wants. Because again, think about it. Okay, you have the elect that are here in Great Babylon, America, that are going to be saved here. So for the sake of the elect, the days of this man and this terror on this earth is going to be shortened. 2, everything is going according to the way Yahweh Shema Shai wants it to be to execute, okay, using Esau at the pace that he wants it done until the elect has been sealed. When we start seeing the terror that these doggone Edomite leaders want, okay, the elites want to happen, with everything is chaotic. No electricity, no running water, disease rampant, I mean crazy. That means the elect has been sealed. The concern that we would have in our head, even though the Mashiach has told us not to be concerned about it or not to worry about it, he's got your back, it's still us in the flesh. The only concern that we would have to have in our head, am I part of the elect that's going to be saved through it? We know that there's a set of people that's going to be saved through it no matter what. Are we part of it? That's the only concern. That's it. Because it's going to happen. All right? Let's go into Zechariah 13 and start at verse 8. And we bring this out all the time because it talks about 2/3 of our people, or roughly 66.3%, that's going to go fall to the sword, the famine, and various form of judgment. Okay, that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is going to be bringing. And no, you other nations are not going to get away scot-free. You are going to feel the pain too. What do you think when Jay Kennedy, do you think he's just going to sit in the ghetto? No, he's coming in these doggone little, nice little neighborhoods that you people have your little white picket fence and your little dog that walks around with a jacket and a necktie on. I mean, these people, man, seriously. Okay? I got people around here who get Halloween decoration out of the house that's in the back of me. Okay? It's got like a 25-foot, ghoulish whatever thing is like that. And look at it, they spend at least a couple $1,000 on that house decoration. They're doing it every year. Here, there's people out here don't pot the piss in, but they got money to spend to go do that bullshit. Now, may the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, I've thrown curses on them many times. They're still alive though. Okay? But in due time. The Lord does his thing how he wants to do it when he wants to do it. So don't be discouraged, brothers, when we throw curses and we're not seeing the result that we want to see right away. Okay? The Lord get recompense these people for their wickedness. Okay? Because hey, we still do wickedness too. So it says, and it shall come to pass that in all the lands that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, 2 parts therein should be cut off and die, but a third should be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined. We'll try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. You need to say Yahweh, okay? And you need to know the name of the Lord, okay, Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. And I will hear them, I will say, it is my people. They shall say, the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, is my power. Okay, and if Cam's ain't teaching you that name, okay, you need to unsubscribe from them very quickly and block any video that's come towards them so that they will influence your mind with their nonsense, okay? Learn how to do that, Jay. Learn how to block bullshit. Learn how to block noise. Okay? Because some people like to hear themselves, okay, but they don't mean you any good. They don't mean anybody any good. Don't give them audience. I don't give a fuck who the hell it is. Alright? Don't waste your doggone time. Find something else to go do, man. Go do some push-ups or some shit if you don't feel like watching edifying videos that day or that minute. Do something different. Work around the yard. Whatever. Go take a jog. Alright? But seriously, man, don't let some asshole come and tell you something different. This is how Jeremiah 49:20 says, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, that he had taken against Edom and its purposes that he had proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Now, this is talking about, Israel, who've been messing around with Persia, which is Iran, more than they Iran, who's going to be backed by, the Russians, okay, and these other conglomerate nations, okay. Sooner or later, they're going to fire a missile in Israel that's going to kill a lot of them. And when they do, Israel has a defense force, not a really big military force, but a defense force. Israel will then shoot back. Again, America will have to get involved with that. You're seeing right now where America is now sending troops down to the Caribbean Sea. They're dispersing their military forces all across this globe right now because Esau knows through the scriptures. Okay, keep in mind with they're wiser than us. They know. They know what's going to happen. They know. They're not going to admit it to the world, but they know. They're preparing for what is going to be, okay, a global conflict. Because when they issue their draconian laws on this earth, okay, which is going to lead into that MOTB, small and great, rich and poor, to receive that mark in order for things to move forward after they've collapsed the current system, they know that there's going to be nations that's going to eventually plot, and we know what's going to take place next. So Israel is a key, and they're not the true people of the Lord. Okay, they're imposters over there, but they're going to be key in drawing Great Babylon America into a conflict that Great Babylon America is going to lose. You hear they can talk all the man talk, and we're going to get rid of the sissies and the men in dresses, in the military, and we're going to go back to the old ways of doing things. How? How are you going to do it? With what generation? This generation you have right now, millennials and generation like that. Not even the millennials, but with these computer age. How? How are you going to do it? You're not. It's not going to work. It'd be like a class boxer. Like let's say you take Mike Tyson, and all he does is, or Mike Tyson. I'm going to use him because it's most popular, and all he fighting is guys that train, in the evening time after they work 9 hours or 12-hour days, and they hit the bag in the bottom of their basement or whatever cases like that for 30 minutes. And then they go fight in the ring. And we know a lot of boxers build their wins based on fighting guys like this who do it not even part-time. Just someone who want to go in the ring to go make $1,000. And it builds up the career of this guy until he gets into the ring with guys that are actually doing it for a living. Pro, who are actually professionals. You're doing it for a living. Now, America has been fighting these weak nations, okay, that kind of, you would say, they're not, they don't have the doctrine of warfare. However, Russia, China, and the rest of these other super nuclear nation, okay, they have the doctrine of warfare. And they're going to learn Great Babylon America lesson. They're going to eat them up, okay? This is 2nd Ezra 6, verse 22. Let's talk about you people who you're so comfortable out there, you think you got friends, you think you got people you can rely on. Well, according to this scripture, this is going to be different. And we know one day it's going to happen, man. It is going to happen. So let me get another instance going here. Okay, it is going to happen where you're going to have a day that's going to come when there's no delivery. Okay, because as the violence takes a hold of Great Babylon America, you're not going to have delivery truck drivers, driving, and people are going to be ambushing these trucks before they can even get to the grocery stores. Okay, which means a lot of these food trucks or trucks will probably, or the food will have to be delivered by the military or military escort, which means if they see any type of vehicle that looks like they're planning an ambush or robbery, they're going to be putting those occupants to death, whether it's the case or not, because and nobody's going to care, because at the same time, because a lot of it's going to be taking place, people are going to be thinking that it's justifiable. It's justifiable to do it because they're hungry. Nobody cares. Okay, we live in a world where people don't care. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the 4 storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man hear it, they shall suddenly be afraid. Doom and gloom. You people who've heard us talk, you'll hear, okay, they were talking about this. Okay, no more food, rationing on the stage, and it's not going to be like that 2020 simulation that they did. It's going to be the real deal. And you hear this man saying, they're not going to feed worthless people. They're not. They're only going to feed the people that is aligning themselves with them. Okay? And they don't care who it is. It says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still in 3 hours. they shall not run. So you have a time where people who are good buddies are going to turn on each other. You know, you can have a lot of people who are going to remind you, like, man, dude, remember that time I lent you this or I did this for you? People are going to come out of the blue and remind people about, hey, do you remember the time I raked your yard or I watched your kids for you while you went out to dinner? You owe me, you owe me. And as people turn to each other and say, look, I only have enough food here to feed my family. Well, I need some too. People are going to fight you to take what you got. Okay? The idea of sharing is not going to work. People are going to initially start to share. They might share with their neighbor. You know, when the electricity go off, you know, a day or two, people are like, okay, I still get, you know, I have solar power. I still have a beer or two. Hey, you know, John, come over here. You know, let's have a beer or two. But then as a week go by, 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, it becomes very clear. You can't have beer every night anymore. And you can't share your food with people because you don't know when you're going to get next. And when you tell someone that's used to you pandering to them and friggin' being real nice to them and catering to their every need and whim, when you tell them, look, I can't give you this food now, I only have enough for my household, they get offended because we live in the nations of people with doggone who get offended very easy and also very emotional. And that emotion is going to turn into anger. And when people who are friends, when they fight, it's much more ferocious than when you fight with someone who you was never friends to begin with, because it's just a done deal. Boom, boom, boom. But when you have an emotional attachment with someone that's your friend, that hate or that anger is going to be multiplied. This is the reason why domestic violence is one of the most dangerous situations for a sentry or a cop to go into, because there's a lot of emotion that's going on. Okay, the feeling of betrayal or whatever the case is like that. So it elevates those testosterone, those anger. Those demons are much more elevated when there's emotion involved. Versus like somebody that you don't know, you have never invested any time with them as a friend or whatever the case is like that. And, you know, but y'all happen to get into a fight. It's right there and then, boom, boom, boom. That's it. Okay, some people go afterward and they go, okay, I want to get a little bit more vengeance or get around to or whatever the case is like that. But boy, when it's an invested emotion, that those demons, they take that to the next level. And that's why this is going to be such a horrible situation. All right, this is Amos 9 and 8 reads, behold, the eyes of the Lord power upon the sinful kingdom, which is great Babylon, America, and I will destroy it from the face of the earth. Proving, as we said before, 200 million missiles is going to hit this place along with the lasers from the chariots that's going to melt this place. And the whole world is going to witness it. And it's going to be as a monument of a judgment that will happen to a wicked kingdom forever and ever for everybody to watch. Okay? And know and understand. Okay? It says, save and I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, said the Lord Yahweh. So that's a promise. Okay? And that's a promise that we look up to the Lord Yahweh. We're going to be holding to it. Because he said he's not going to kill all of us. He said he promised he's not going to kill all of us. So we're looking to be in his grace. And as he said he's not going to kill all of us, then we expect that 1/3 of us is going to make it true. 1/3 of us is going to make it true. All right, this is Ecclesiastes 13 and verse 20, and it reads, as the proud hate humility, so that the rich abhor the poor, which we can see that, the proud don't like you. That's the reason why when you deal with Esau, and every of your brothers and sisters have been in an interview, what do they ask you? What do you see yourself 5 years from now? What the hell? In the interview, they have no intention of hiring your ass or whatever, because they're playing games with you just to say they interviewed a black person or a Latino person, whatever case like that. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And they do it to Edomites too. But that's a proud statement. Okay? It says, a rich man began to fall as held up of his friends, but a poor man being down is thrust away by his friends, which is the reason why we need Yahweh Shai, we need the Mashiach to save us, because we're poor and we're not going to be helped by the other poor, okay, which is our people or our friends. We're not. Okay? It says, when a rich man is fallen, he had many helpers, he speaketh things not to be spoken, and yet men justify him. The poor man slept, and yet they rebuke him too. He spake wisely and could not have no place, because Nobody listens to a broke person or someone they think is poor. Okay? People give you more air if you got $2, if you look like you got $2 in your pocket doing okay for yourself, than if you look like a destitute, don't have a nickel to rub in your fingers. Because it's all about imagery. And this is how our people is. This is the reason why people like the Creflo Dollars and the pastors, them with the fancy cars and the big house, and they can show, they got a big church and just showing wealthy and richness like that. And they associate that with being blessed by Yahweh Shai, or they call God in the world. All right? So they follow those people and give them even more, making them even more rich. In the meantime, they're peasants. I remember, this is 4 decades ago. And I, you know, they'll give you how old I actually really am. I remember down in the Caribbean when I was living there. And I was in a church bus, in a small little church. You know, small little church. And the bus went around and it stopped at the pastor's house. He's got golden lions in the front. It's a triple level house. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And you should see everybody inside the little bus going, oh, wow, and all that stuff like that. And I was like, damn. How did he get that? Okay, so that goes to show that people reverence rich or wealth, or what wealth is like power. That's why an ugly kike like Bill Gates can talk shit, don't have no degree in anything, but he's wealthy. But he can talk about medical topics and get people, or telling people that they should get themselves jabbed the hell up. No medical degrees, not licensed. He doesn't even have a degree in anything, but he's rich. Yet still, your Harvard graduate and your doctors from your best medical school is saying, like, more research, you know, we need to go look at this like that. They lose their license and they get fired. Because they're not really rich. They're in debt. They're professionals with an MD behind their name, or PhD, or whatever the case is like that. But what comes with that? When you go to medical school, you're in massive debt. Massive debt in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I had a doctor friend way back in the day was $400,000 in debt. Okay? $400,000 in debt. So while he was a doctor, he was in massive debt, man. He couldn't afford nothing in life. Okay? So there it is right there. You have people magnify you when you look at you have something going for you. People are more likely to listen to you because you look at you got something going for you. Let's go back into 2nd Esdras again. And I know we bring out the same thing, you know, but we're in that times right now where you have to bring out what's going on currently. And of course, we go into the scriptures. You know, during the weekdays, I would bring out a news article if I see it. You know, I try to be not redundant. Like, you know, if brothers are bringing out, or multiple brothers are bringing out a particular piece, and they've done a marvelous, edifying job with it, which they always do. I'm not gonna, if I have nothing to add on to it, I'm not gonna make a lesson on it. I just don't do it, just to do it. But you know, we do go into the news headlines during the week, and we can see the works of the Lord Yahweh Shai on this earth, you know, through his judgments. And also we can see not only judging, okay, because the Lord judges, but think about what he's done for us. Think of what he's done for us. He's waking us up. For once in our pathetic life, you actually have hope, a glimmer of hope. You have a glimmer of hope. You look at things a whole lot different. You have hope. Okay? Hope. Not no hoop dreams. Hope. This is 2 Esdras 15, 7 verse 16. It reads, for there should be seditions amongst men awaiting one another. They shall not regard their kings or princes, and the cause of their action shall stand in their power, which is the sword in their hand. Sooner or later, as you see right now, you have a lot of so-called MAGAs. And I was talking earlier when I first started with that MAGA Edomite that was trying to get Jake Stem to side with them to go some revolution or whatever case like that. Okay? But this is how these people are going to be. You know, they're going to be like, trying to go up against an organized military, okay? An organized, well, I won't use the word organized with a government because they're indecisive, like I say, and they're also divided. But people are not going to have the patience America is not going to be great, and people are going to lose their patience. This has been like what, a year, 2 years, and things have gotten worse. What the hell are you talking about making America great again? It's gotten worse. All right, so they're gonna flip out, and it says a man should decide to go in the city should not be able to. Okay, cordon off. That's the reason why you have Trump. This lines with what Trump is trying to do with all these troops in these cities, because they're gonna cordon those cities off. Okay, and if you try to go past this barrier, you're probably gonna get a doggone 556 in your head. Okay, it says for because of their pride, the city should be troubled, and the houses should be destroyed, and man should be afraid. Okay, and of course it goes into what is going to take place domestically amongst people within, going and invading each other. Okay, jumping over walls, whatever the case is like that. So the death tolls is going to be great. It's probably going to be the best time to wear a mask over your face because of the amount of doggone dead bodies and the flies and the stench, and you don't want those flies flying in your mouth and shit. Yeah, it sounds graphic, but seriously, while you can, probably should get a doggone mask to put over your face, man. I mean, being clean and being, washing your hands and dealing with it is going to be critical, during this time because you have, you can imagine, you can use your imagination and how this is going to look. Okay, and some people are going to be much more skilled taking from other people than other people are. And people are going to be roving and you can just go into it. And I think the brother Amawan Gabar, I think, that brother, he definitely really brings out those type of really dark view. He put, when he does his lessons, he really, your head start like imagining those things. You have a compilation of movies you've watched and stories you've read and all that stuff, and you can kind of picture just how this is going to look. Nighttime is going to be a really true nightmare in Great Babylon, America. No power, no nothing like that. You get the creatures to deal with, sanitation is so horrific. You get the snakes and scorpion. Oh my goodness. Wow. All right, this is Proverbs 27, 1 reads, boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. Of course, when you talk about the drama that's taking place here right now, there's no certainty other than what's written here that's going to take place. So you have the mark of the beast is going to be, that's a certainty. You have World War III. You have Israel is going to get bombed and then they're going to drive the United States in there. That's a certainty. You have Esau that's going to come after Jacob, which is the 12th tribe of Israel. That is a certainty. You have the Mashiach, the return of the Mashiach with the heavenly host. That is a certainty. And you have the setup of the heavenly kingdom. That is a certainty. And you have Esau going into captivity. That is a certainty. All written right here. Okay? All written right here. So you don't have to, try to look anywhere else for the truth. It's written right here. Now, I'm going to go into Psalms 91. And this is going to be, I'm going to close out with this. Because this is key. And this should always be, really at the forefront of your mind. Okay, what we're going to be dealing with here. Okay, let's see if I can find the book of Psalms here. Psalms 91. And starting with verse, let's start with verse 1. Let's just go through it. It says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I would say of the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, he's my refuge and my fortress, my power. In him will I trust. So you can't trust a man, okay? While there's, brothers, who congregate together in camps and maybe out of camp or whatever cases like that. That's a beautiful thing, if you're in that situation. But at the end of the day, only the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, you should be trusting into. Who actually can deliver you? Nobody can deliver you. You can't deliver yourself even. All right? It says, surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth should be the side, the shield, and buckler. This truth is the shield and buckler. We understand 1/3 is going to be saved, 2/3 is going to be eliminated. Our enemy is going to get the judgment that we will get in pursuit of Deuteronomy 30 and 7. Okay? You talk about when we went to 2nd Ezra, you go into 15 and 16 and 6, you talk about what? We talk about the shortage of food and how people, oppose each other or oppose the government, turn on each other. Okay, we're already seeing it happening right now. We're seeing the distress of nations, the uproar of the people. Okay, we're seeing all those things. All right. So the thing that we actually understand is this: is that if you are part of the elect, you will eat, you will be protected through all of this. It says, "Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor for the arrow that fly by day, nor for the pestilence that walk in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasted at noonday." And we can just picture how this is going to look. Once the sanitation goes down here, pestilence, disease is going to be rampant. Rampant. Okay? People are already sick over here with all kinds of stuff. They don't exercise, even though they have the opportunity to exercise. They don't take care of their body, because Esau always advertised a pill that cures everything and all this other stuff like that. They trust in the so-called white man and his voodoo magic and all this bullshit. And as appointed him as God. And now he's about to take it to the next level, building all these data centers and bringing AI. Okay, so this is going to be revolutionized. When you look at our cell phone right now, for those of you alive 30 years ago, you know what a cell phone looked like. I mean, they were huge. Huge. And if you had a pager was a big thing. But boy, if you had a cell phone, you was considered something, man. Okay, if you were a black man walking with a cell phone, if you weren't wearing a suit, then people look at you automatically as a drug dealer. Okay? Okay, I couldn't afford a cell phone 30 years ago. All right? It says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee, giving you an idea of how many people are going to die from various forms, okay, of judgment, getting bite by snakes, scorpions, newly created creatures. You can't tell what kind of diabolical creatures Esau has created in these labs. Crossbreeding, where they don't have no anti-venom or cure for these things. I mean, some shit that just blows your doggone mind. Okay, in fact, before we close it, I should actually read about, if I can find that scripture in regards to that before I go back and finish it. It says, newly created, and it describes what one of these things actually look like. Okay. Let's see if I can actually find it. It says, this is Wisdom of Solomon. It says, Wisdom of Solomon 11, and Sour 7 says, "For thy almighty hand that made the world of matter without form." Yeah. "Wanted not means to send among them a multitude of bears or fierce lions, or unknown wild beasts full of rage, newly created, breathing out either a fiery raker or filthy scents of scattered smoke, or shooting horrible sparks of their eyes." Horrible sparks of their eyes. I mean, you're talking like, what, they're shooting lasers? I mean, whatever kind of creature those are, is just something you just don't want to see. Okay? Something like a dragon type of thing that's breathing fire, burning you up. I mean, these things are going to be let loose. And it's going to be at a time when you have blackouts. People are unaware of the darkness and the things that's going. You see glowing eyes, and what the hell is that? We're going to see a lot of dead people. Okay, it says, "Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, which is my refuge, even Most High thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angel charge over thee to keep thee in thy ways." So let me give you an example of how the Lord does that. For example, that brother could have taken that weapon when he took it from that Edomite. He could have taken that and turned around and pulled the trigger and put that Edomite down. Now then that would have been murder. So now he went from preaching to now he's a murderer. Okay, because he took it that far. So the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, if your part of the elect, is going to hold back, what you're going to go do. As in this flesh, you might want to do something, but some way, somehow, the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, will block that or prevent you from making that decision or doing that. Okay, to keep you, and that's what I said, keep you in all our ways, and to Yahweh Shemashai for that. Okay, But a lot of these YNs, and they're not gonna be held by. They're gonna allow to indulge in those things, which is gonna cost them their life or their freedom. Okay, they're gonna die a murderer. All right, but you can see here what it talks about here, and thy dwelling, meaning that and those who in your household who might be believing or supporting you or whatever the case is like that, are protected also too. Okay, and it's not necessarily just only someone who's of kin like that. It could be, who knows, your house is not necessarily going to be just only your house for you. Those extra bedrooms you got or those extra rooms you got might be spaces that has to be for others that the Lord has chosen to go to be under you, because He has given you the wisdom to ensure that they will be preserved, or they will live, be able to eat and whatever the case is, that be protected, and that's going to happen. Okay, that's going to happen. So, Lord willing, this has been edifying. Like I said, the weather was out there really shitty, and so I couldn't go out there. I don't particularly like to do indoor camp, but nonetheless, you still bring it out, and you have to, adjust and adapt, okay, to whatever situation it is like that, in order to bring out this ministry and this truth to edify the hopefully not the Yasharala. So I'm going to close by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakadash. Shalom.